Welcome to Forest Dot Chat, where we talk about individual endeavour in Western Australia, what it takes, what it means, and how you do it. I'm your host, Paul Vandermeer, and in today's episode, we're talking with Dianne Stewart about ballet. Dianne started ballet at 5 years old in Busselton and has been dancing ever since. Welcome to Forest Dot Chat, Dianne.
Hi Paul, thanks for having me.
Great to have you here, Dianne. Dianne, people think of all sorts of things when they hear the word ballet. What actually is ballet?
Well, ballet originated in the 14th century, so a long time ago. It's the backbone really of all dance, and any dance that we see today on the TV or in the dance studios is coming from these lines, from these ballet lines, and it's very common to see in ballet bar now that we have bar, as well as Pilates. It's really, ballet has been doing Pilates standing up for many centuries, so it's the backbone to all dance, and that's probably why I love it.
I would never have connected Pilates with ballet.
A lot of people don't, but it is very similar. But as I said, a lot of people are doing Pilates movement, which has really originated from the fundamentals and structure of ballet.
Interesting. So what is the structure of ballet?
The structure of ballet starts with a ballet bar, but is different to what people are referring to as bar today. And it goes through a series of exercises and strengthening that is amazing for your body. And it's really, it is beautiful to see. And ballet is just lovely for the coordination and for physical and mental. And then besides the bar, you move into centre practice, which is great for your balance and your coordination and staying on your feet, which is really what we're about as we age. And it's just one of those beautiful, lovely art forms that takes you from, 4 or 5 years old whenever you start, and it can take you right through to people who I'm seeing today in their 90s. So it's a graceful, has poise, but it is lovely for mobility, and of course it's spoken in French. So all our terminology for our pliés and our tendus and our rond de jambes and arabesque, I'm trying to think of some of the words that the viewers might know, but they're all studying. That's what I say to the ballerinas. You don't just come to ballet class, you actually study ballet. Because of that as well, it's another form of language, which is great for our minds.
So there's a whole suite of terminology around ballet, which is in French. Mm-hmm. And then there's the whole suite of physical posing, I guess, that the words describe. Is that how?
Yes, exactly. Yes, exactly. So like plié means to bend. And so you'd have different, explanations, and that's what I say to people. This is en dehors, which means an outward movement, and an en dedans movement, which is obviously the reverse, which is inwards, and en l'air, meaning in the air, à terre, which is on the ground. So not only do students have to look and follow and mirror that image that they're seeing with the movement and understand it in a split second, they also have to basically retrain themselves to learn another language in the process. So it's great. And it does give you that strength to be able to go off to tap dancing and, acrobatics and jazz and ballroom and other. Once you've got classical as a backbone, a bit like classical music, it's the fundamental basis of the art form.
You can build on it and expand into anything, and then, of course, you can twist it into something else.
Yeah, totally. And we love twisting things because that's how fusion and things happen. And I like anything that is embellished. I do like the principles of the strict classical art as an art form, classical ballet, but I am very open to all the different genres that have come from that. And in classical ballet, we follow syllabuses. So there's different. You have RAD, you have Cicchetti, and you might have Commonwealth, ISTD. I mean, there's I can keep going, but they're the sort of 4 common ones used in Australia at the moment. I, on the other hand, was fortunate enough to be taught by Kirill Vazikowski, and Kirill came to Busselton after he travelled with the Ballet Russe, so the original Ballet Russe in Europe, and he travelled for 15, 20 years out of a suitcase, and I used to think nothing of that when I was younger. I just used to think he was this funny little man, but it was a wonderful life that he led, and he was with the Borovansky Ballet, and he performed Ballet Rambert, and also then formed with the WA Ballet, was the artistic director there and honorary artistic director for some time. and happened to be in the room, I say, when Kira Busloff received a phone call at the WA Ballet from a principal's wife, so the Busselton Senior High School's principal, and she said that she was in need of, she felt ballet needed to be in the town, and that was in the 60s, and so they sent Kirill, and then Kirill stayed there for 22 years, and he travelled every week to teach us ballet, and I'm so grateful that he did, and so are many others, and he ended up with quite a circuit with Margaret River and Bunbury and up to Cape Lewin, and he ended up with quite a little every day, Manjimup, and then, but he settled mostly in Busselton, actually ended up living down there as well, and so I was with him for 13 years before I went to Perth.
That's quite a high-profile person who's come to Busselton and shared their art.
Yes.
Through over longer than they took to gain their art, really, by the sound of things.
Yes, exactly. And because he was in a boarding school and an only child from the age of 5 to 12 in a boarding school in London, even though he was born in Russia, it was a very different life for him to suddenly be involved with parents and to understand how communities worked. And he did extremely well, especially with language as well as he went along his way. But yes, we're so grateful that he came because he had this expertise, but also I loved his open classes. So even though Kirill understood all these syllabuses, we only ever did very minimal exams, ballet exams, and he taught a very open structure class, which I knew no different, so of course naturally I teach the same. So therefore, in an open class, for those of listeners who are listening, it would be not doing the same exercise each week and perfecting it. It's doing the same structure of exercise but a completely different array of steps. So that trains the brain to think differently each week. They have to memorise something different for that immediate moment, which makes it then very, very in the moment, and so it's very great at practicing mindfulness because you can't be anywhere else. You have to be in it, not tuning off to a movement that becomes so familiar physically but not mentally.
So you get away from that habit formed and repeated, and you basically switch your mind off, which is almost a meditative state. This is a mindful state.
Absolutely mindful, and I think that's probably what surprises most people when they study ballet. And because I have branched now into adult learning, I'm really seeing that, and I had forgotten that would be the case because when you start as a child you do adapt. But yes, I'm finding that really interesting watching the adults, that it is, you do have to be mindful and be in the moment. As I said, none of us, and myself included, because I have to think, because I have to lead, and I've created that different set of exercises and movement for that week only. So and then it's out the window and then on to another week, and so I have to stay present as well.
Sounds like 54 states.
Yeah, it can be. But yeah, it's good to challenge the mind. Yeah, and both, as we're reading more about, when you challenge physically and mentally, then it's a double whammy, and it's great for all of us.
Absolutely. So you talk a little bit about doing some exams. What's the structure of examinations? What does that lead to or get you? Or
Yeah, the examinations that a lot of the schools are running in the southwest and WA, and rightly so. It's a great way for children to have that structure and to probably get that achievement. So they will always probably do their end of year concerts and their recitals and their other pieces that they do throughout the year, and they might do a lot in community. But their exams will give them something to work forward and to polish up, shall we say, their technique. So it really, especially if they want to do it on a professional level as opposed to a hobby, then I think exam technique and work is, it's needed to be done, Yeah,
it's a professional direction that you would be taking if you really find that you feel that you have to do those examinations.
Yes, and I would pair that to music in the same way. You get people who are naturally gifted with music and they love it, but I think if they haven't had that structure of the theory behind, so I guess the ballet exams would be similar to theory in a music student. So if you've got both, then that's wonderful. It's not to say the end result won't be great. They would still be a wonderful dancer. They would still be a wonderful musician. And certainly I prefer to teach not doing exams. I certainly don't have any exams for adult learners. We're just happy that we walk in the class each day. And we're not on Zimmer frames, really. That's sort of the main aim. But yes, for your younger children, it's great that they have a choice, and there's so many great quality teachers in this area. And probably when I look at it, you can see all the lines have come from these wonderful ballerinas that I'm talking about, like mine, came and stopped here from the original Ballet Russe. And I think we could all put our lineage back to that, back to that line. And so we're very grateful.
Dianne, what does it take you to do ballet?
What does it take me to do ballet? I have to prepare my lessons for a start, and that usually takes probably 2 to 3 hours because I love changing the music all around. And I think that the feedback I get from my students is that really transports them into another place. The classical music is wonderful, but it used to be back in the day quite tinny and a bit hard if you were doing exam work because it was all on the old tape or the reel to reel. But where again, because I had a teacher who taught open professional classes, we would always have a live pianist. So I was very, very lucky with that, and watching the communication between them work on the spot was so lovely to be a part of that creativity. So he very rarely prepared. He had an idea of what he'd do, but then he would work with the pianist on the day, so that's great. So I try to have that sort of, even though we haven't got a live pianist at the moment, I try and sort of make sure that I've got different songs, but also things that people love, like Edelweiss and things from movie themes and things that people, it usually casts a memory for them, but also a lot of modern songs today. Thanks to Spotify, we get a lot of really great choices of beautiful classical music that are very inspiring and very uplifting. So that usually takes a bit of the chunk of the week, is trying to work out the music that I want to. I usually choose the music first and then put the movement to it, work out the structure and keep rotating them around so that there is so much, and my dancers have learnt such an array of steps now that we can't fit them into a 5-hour lesson, so we have to keep moving them around every 2 or 3 weeks, so that I think, we haven't done a releve, or we haven't done a pirouette for a while, we haven't done, some changements, so we have to slot them in, where we can.
So one of the things that you do need to have is that knowledge of music.
Yes, totally, which I'm not trained in music, but definitely the music appreciation has always been there, and that love of music, which has been really great and certainly served me well when I went into more entertainment. So I used to run an entertainment agency here in Bunbury as well, and so therefore picking bands and seeing artists has always been a passion anyway, so I sort of marry the two up. So besides getting the class ready for the week and choosing them, selecting the music to complement the movement, I've got to make sure that the spaces that I hire are still available for that term or for that week, and then of course there's always insurance and other things that you have to pay, and so I usually do bookkeeping and allow a bit of time for that each week as well, and also checking in with some students that I haven't maybe seen for a couple of weeks, just to make sure that they are okay, because it's formed quite a little community and everyone sort of looks after everybody else. So spend time doing that, having chats and coffee.
I'm going to say it's amazing how doing things together brings people closer together.
Yes, absolutely, and that has been a definite bonus in my life. The people that I have met on this journey of the 5 years of, as I said, I've danced all the time, but this is just a little side section to my life. This next little chapter, teaching adult ballet, and so over the 5 years, it's been really lovely seeing the friendships develop within the group, and everyone comes from different ages and different backgrounds, but there's a common thread of these people that come. And I think to be an adult learner and challenge yourself to something different when you haven't done it before. Some are revisiting, I must admit, revisiting their ballet days from youth, but there is a lot of absolute beginner, and I am in awe of them every week, because it's not easy to start, especially an art form, as an adult, but they have, as I said, this common thread, and I think it's gumption. I think that's what they all have, to get through.
The ballet has always seemed to me like one of those things that you do need to have a little bit of gumption, because it can be pretty hard on the feet?
Oh, very. Yes, and I often say leave your ego at the door, because your body doesn't know if it's getting it wrong. It's only your mind. And if you can put that aside and laugh, you'll get it next week or you'll get it the week after. But it is so challenging. That is something that everyone has to overcome. And it really doesn't matter to what level of ballet you have been to in your past or you are going to now. You'll never, ever be finished. There will never be that finish line where you go, I know every step there is to do and I can do it perfectly. It just doesn't exist. Even in a prima ballerina in a company like the WA Ballet Company, they would never, ever do an exercise that is 110% the best of their ability. It's just not possible in ballet, and that's probably what makes everyone so hungry, I think, to keep achieving, to keep pushing themselves, which is a great driver.
It's good to be able to keep doing something and not go, oh, that's finished now. For example, if you go on a holiday, usually it's time limited and you're going at the end it's finished and you've got to go back to your real life. Ballet doesn't have that clean end to it at all.
No end in sight there. So there's always more layers. As I said, you can always put more things on. So a basic exercise, like to bend your legs or something like that, everyone can do that. But then when you think about where your placement is in the body, where's your breathing, where's your eye line, where's your hand line, are your knees going over your toes, are you lifting up from the hips, are you lengthening in the waist, where's your rib cage sitting out? Like, there's so many different layers, and to think of all that while you're still trying to memorise the steps is the challenge. Yeah.
So you need to have a good memory or a good understanding of where you're at. I guess maybe I've not put that the right way.
I think that's probably what one of our points would be for people to come along, is to get that memory going. The memory is a great muscle, but like everything, we've got to use it. So we need to keep pushing it. And things like our balance, like we used to be able to spin around as children, not get dizzy and all these sorts of things. So we need to push those things because we don't realise how slowly they've dropped off for a couple, over decades. So again, when you come into something like a structured ballet class, then it's not going to be there first off, but you just have to bring it back as you lost it. You know what I mean? Just slowly and surely. And I think the wonder of ballet and the difference that makes it normal is we walk as humans in parallel. So we're walking and we're standing most of the time in parallel. But the beauty that makes ballet different is that we are rotated. So if you imagine, if your listeners can imagine, if you're standing with your feet together in parallel and you just pointed your foot off the floor, which in ballet is artère, and you lifted it in the air, then you can balance on one leg. And it is a little bit tricky and your body wobbles, and your body wobbling is not that you have bad balance. Falling over is when you have bad balance. Wobbling is your body pushing yourself to go, oh, something's happening here, and that's good. In ballet, now imagine rotating and keeping your heels together. Now put that leg forward, now lift it. And suddenly your pelvis and everything has to shift, and your glutes have to work, and your thighs have to tighten. Your thighs are tightening to hold up your knees, a little bit like braces, they've got to hold them up. So that is really ballet in a nutshell. It's the rotation, which isn't the normal, to make us strengthen everything else.
So that's a fairly simple manoeuvre in order to improve the entire system.
Absolutely, yeah. So that's
connected, the whole knee bones connected to the...
That's right, yeah. And also in classical ballet, unlike most other dance styles, so in your other genres like jazz and tap, which I've taught, and modern, you'll have opposite arm to front leg, which is the way we walk. In ballet, it's 50-50. Sometimes we are opposite, but a lot of the times we're the same, which again goes against the grain. That's why it is the pinnacle of dance. Yeah, it's up there for sure.
Very interesting how that all plays together and ramps up the difficulty level as well.
Totally, yeah, and that's where the challenge lies for everybody that comes along. So I'm hoping I'm not putting off people, because it is, we do start very simply, but as I said, we cater for the absolute beginner and the simple, but also the beauty of ballet as an art form and how you can constantly grow and learn for years and years. So hopefully when we're 90 and 100, we will still go, just got to keep working harder, and nothing will ever be 100% right, but hopefully we'll be satisfied.
That's it. And never look at anybody else's work.
Oh no, everyone thinks that because we're surrounded by mirrors, and people do, everyone gets self-conscious, but everyone is so busy working on their levels of layers. So we might just be trying to get the exercise right where, 2 or 3 people in the class, they may find that quite easy, so they're working on other things, but everyone's aware of everyone else in the class, but they're sort of not. They're too busy working on themselves, and no one has time to look at anyone else. So, which again is a good thing to do.
So there's a lot of inward focus, but there's also a performance aspect, isn't there?
Yes, there is always that performance.
Or an opportunity, at least, for a performance.
Oh, absolutely. And even as adults this year, we've been asked to 4 different community events, which I say predominantly ladies, but I do have some gentlemen come along, some very brave souls with their wives. And one gentleman came along after he's had some knee replacements done, and he's found it really good therapy, which is really great, and he spreads the word for me, which is wonderful. And I love that he uses that, and physiotherapists are often putting us forward too, because I think they're seeing the benefits, and that's really what I say, the benefits of ballet are huge. So if we can help in that space, then we can.
We've heard what it takes, Dianne, to do ballet, and in fact teach people how to do ballet. We'll have a break now, and after the break we'll have a look at what it means. We've had a look at what it takes, Dianne, to be a ballet teacher. Now, let's have a look at what it means. Dianne, what does it mean to you, your family, or the community that you're able to teach ballet?
Well, I'll start with the community. So we've been lucky enough this year to be asked to a few things, which has really thrilled the ballerinas that I call my group. And so we danced at the Health and Wellness show. We've also done the Seniors Expo. We raised money for the Go Blue for June. And we just did a performance at Eton at Bethany for the residents there, the people that come in for the day visits and things. So I can't believe how many ladies and gentlemen put up their hand to want to perform. So the performance element is great, and I think for a lot of people they really enjoy it. Other people very much shy away, and there's no pressure to do these little community performances, but I think it is wonderful, and we've always gained a lot of respect when we have done a little performance or exhibition somewhere. I think they're amazed, and as I am, on the ability of some of these people that they're seeing in front of them and their ages. So that's always great. You can't be what you can't see. So I think it's great when they see them, and hopefully then they think it's an okay thing to do and not be laughed at for starting up ballet at the age of 70. So hopefully that's a good reason. And then your other question was about what does it mean to me? Well, for myself, I got diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis when I was quite young, 29. So I've been on quite an array of drugs and things that I try and fight against. And for a few years there, I couldn't dance. I couldn't physically do it, and I really missed it. But I have managed to pull myself out of those sorts of things. And I think because I sort of lead in with that when people, not to sort of say what I have and some of the disabilities that we have, but anyone over 40 is really nursing something, or if not, they're very lucky. So I think it shouldn't put a barrier between you and what you want to do. I think you should be able to do whatever you want to do. So don't let that be a barrier, health or whatever. We can work around all types of ailments in the class, and everyone works within their limits, but still the benefits of ballet will override any kind of setbacks you may have on a physical or mental level. And then for my family, I think it's really nice for my parents, even though they're now both passed. I think of all the years that they spent on lessons, and I was just really lucky that I could make a career out of it. And I've always taught ballet either in the community, like I'm doing now, running my own dance schools at lots of various times through my life in different places in Western Australia, but also I was lucky enough to teach in the education system as well. So I really loved teaching the adolescents, and so that was really lovely to be in a high school situation and teach high school 8R dance to those who wanted to use dance to get into university. So that was really it's exciting. The course is really great, and to study these lovely Australian ballet companies and their meanings behind, or to analyse all the different dance works, so that they can use it, just like maths or physics, to gain entry uni if they want to. It was wonderful, and I really enjoyed that phase of my life and the 4 schools that I taught that in.
You often hear the term STEM come up, which is science, technology, engineering and mathematics.
Maths, yes.
But this is what they call SHAPE. So this is social sciences for the humanities and arts for the people and economy.
Correct. And it's so good that we can, as we learnt, I think, during COVID, creative arts are sort of a little bit undervalued in a lot of society, and yet we are so important. And for the full-rounded learning of a child or adult, creative industry shouldn't ever be put to the back burner. We should stand proud and keep going, and they're very important in schools. And like you said, a lot go down one path, but I think it's wonderful when you've got a good balance of both.
It's very important that students particularly understand that there are more different routes. I did interview an artist who came through school and got to the end and decided that they really needed to do art, not all of the other things that they were actually studying. Some people, that's their default place to be. They need to have that opportunity, but they also have a very important role in society, don't they?
Oh, totally. And it is funny how your life can take a different path. I think when I finished schooling at Busselton and I went to Perth, and I sort of had 4 options on the table of what I wanted to do, whether that be air hostessing or police. I wanted to be a policeman at one stage, and teaching was always a passion of mine, but I was going to teach deaf children and specialise in that. But then I also auditioned for WAPA, and then I got into WAPA, and so that really overrid everything, because dance I loved, but I didn't really realise if I could make it a profession. So I ended up combining the two, which was wonderful, because I always wanted to be a teacher. So lucky for me, I could do both. What I love to do, because that's what a lot of people say, it's a hobby. It is a great hobby, and it was just a bonus for me that I could manage to juggle both and then evolve. You do have to change through your life on what things happen, whether once family came along, it was a bit hard to do high school dancing as far as the hours go, but I decided to start off doing young children, so I've certainly done the whole spectrum of ages. So I started off with the 2-year-olds to 5, and then I found a need in the communities with that, because the parents were asking me to do more classes a week, and 1 or 2 was enough with a young family. So I decided to create a DVD for children so that they could interact in their homes, and especially for remote parts of Western Australia where they weren't having these dance classes, and then they could use this dance class. And then that led on to playgroups and childcare centres that were using for their physical exercise through the day. When they have to tick that box to go, yes, we've done 15 minutes of exercise, we could go through some of the items on the DVD that I put together, which featured 25 children all skipping around and dancing with me at the time. So I've gone from that into, as I said, high school, and then now teaching adults. So it's sort of, dance has kept up with my life just as I have kept up with it. And so for my family, it's been great to be able to evolve with them and still be a mum at home for wherever I could be. And then once they were school age, I could go back into the high school system. So it's given me lots of flexibility, and also provided a part-time income, which is hard in the arts. Not always easy, so yeah.
So let me talk about how people actually benefit from going along to ballet classes. What have you seen in amongst your students, your adult students, that actually shows that the ballet is doing good?
Oh, that's a huge question. Good question though, Paul. I probably see when people first start as an adult beginner, they can't really rise onto the balls of their feet very high, as I couldn't either with having a 10-year hiatus. So probably their heels lifting off the ground and moving onto the balls of their feet is really great, and it's usually probably over a period of about 6 to 12 months that you'll see this progression. And then of course their ability to even just to do a little jump. We don't do a lot of jumping because most of us have got sore knees, or, nursing knees, I should say. The symphony of knees sometimes when we bend. But of course, strengthening the thigh muscles, as most people know, is the only way to really strengthen the knees. So that's really what we spend lots of time on. So again, it's just seeing that progression, and they just improve. But what I love about them so much is they just try. They try so hard for me and for themselves, but they really do try. They blow me away how much they all try. So I suppose I see the benefits physically in the class, and so do they. I think they notice any ailments that they have got seem to dim a bit, which is great. So any movement is good. Some see great things, which is wonderful, but a lot see their bone densities improve greatly, because it is so strength building that even though you're not jumping around, it gains a lot of inner strength. So therefore that is like what we are trying to do to get strong bones as we age. So bone density tests definitely, and just general tests in their blood works and everything else that they need to have as they're aging is holding, if not getting much better, which usually in their late 80s can decline quite quickly. So it's good.
So they're seeing real physical
Results.
Improvements.
Yeah.
Which would translate to everything they do in their life.
Yeah, some ladies come in and they just go, oh, this is my happy place, or, they just love it. They just fall in love with ballet. And I think one of the wonderful things is seeing that some of my adults had never even been to see a ballet performance. So, of course, we organise a couple of social activities throughout the year, and we always go and see the West Australian Ballet in December, and this year we've got 56 going. So there's quite a big group of us going up.
2 buses.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's lovely to see that they want to see more ballet, and they're encouraged to, see the steps, and they also realise the beauty and how hard it is, because ballet dancers make everything look so easy and so graceful, and it is extremely, extremely difficult. But yeah, it's the difficulty that makes the benefit. So
yeah, and they would see that connection between how easily it's made to look and how hard it actually is, because they've tried it.
Totally. And yeah, that's lovely to watch. But yes, they all progress, their flexibility. Some of them can, touch their knees when they first come in, and it doesn't take too long before they're touching their ankles. And some squeal, oh, I touched the floor today. Putting your leg on the bar, even though it's only a low bar, or we might start with a chair. And these are all things that are optional. You don't have to put your leg on the bar. But it is great achievement, and some of my 70-year-olds are just getting down into their splits because they wanted to. I never make people do any of these, but if they want to do them while they're warm, then they're free to do so in the class. So everyone has their own little personal, their PBs, their personal best that they want to do each week. They all get there. Yeah, it's great to see.
And it's great that it's their own PB and not somebody else's PB.
Absolutely, yes, absolutely, their own. And I think probably the best benefit would be the stretching. The stretching, it doesn't matter because we all release the same endorphins. So someone ahead of you might be have a lot of flexibility and be a long way ahead of you, but you're still releasing the same. So everyone benefits, and it just makes everybody feel good. It is really good as we age. So it's just that culmination of very, very many things that makes ballet such a good option as we age.
We've heard what it means, and there are lots of positive meanings for people who do partake in ballet. We'll have a break now, and after the break, we'll have a look at how you do it. We've had a look at what it means that Dianne can teach ballet. Dianne, if someone wanted to start ballet, how would they go about it?
Well, we do 5 classes a week, so I have 2 in Busselton and I have 3 in Bunbury. And in the Bunbury, I'm at the Studio of Classical and Contemporary Dance, where I rent a space there, which is lovely because it's a lovely flooring and it's nice and safe and air-conditioned, which is very important for us as we age. So come along there to either a Wednesday or a Thursday morning and you'll find me in there, and also Thursday evenings. So that's Denning Road in Bunbury. And in Busselton, Hamilton, I'm at Jazz Attack, which is in Cook Street, and I'm there on a Monday morning at 10 o'clock, and I'm there also on a Wednesday afternoon. So come along and you can find me there, or hopefully, you'll know somebody who will know me and direct you in the right space. But that's probably the easiest way to try and find me. Sometimes I do have little ads in the paper and things, but I'm not really on social media very much. I apologise for that.
Definitely no need to apologise for not being on social media. So if I was to come along, what would I need to bring with me?
Yeah, good question. A lot of people ask that, and of course they don't want to spend a lot of money when you're not sure. So come along and try it and see whether it's a right fit for you. And you don't have to worry about footwear. We can certainly bare feet. Socks is okay while you're at the ballet bar, but I get a bit nervous when we're in socks if we're in the centre, so I would ask you to remove them. Or just a nice, I wouldn't say a high thick sand shoe, but a soft sand shoe of some sort that, is easy, some sort of comfortable footwear where you can rise up to the balls of your feet but also not slip would be great. And just easy moving clothing is fine. You don't have to wear leotards. A lot of people will be put off by wearing leotards and ballet stockings. Certainly do not have to, but it is amazing as I watch people's journey and suddenly, a year down the track and they've got all the gear and they look amazing, and it makes them feel great. So always good Christmas and birthday ideas for the dance shop in town to get vouchers. And otherwise, just the usual self-care with a drink bottle and things like that. But certainly you can try before you buy and come along to the class. But the social connection as well as the mindfulness is great. They're a great bunch of people and very welcoming. And I also have a sort of a beginner video, if you like, that you can access. I can send the link to your phone or whatever. So basically, if you're committed and you want to do it, I'll certainly help you get there.
It's not too high a barrier to get into it.
No, not at all. Not at all. And it doesn't matter what disabilities or setbacks you think you might have physically, we can always accommodate those. So I think just come along and try it. You don't have to have danced a step. You don't have to be a budding ballerina in your past. But at the same time, if you are revisiting that, then that's great. You'll go ahead and leaps and bounds. But no, I really love teaching the basics to absolute beginners. So come and find me.
And what sort of attitude should I bring?
Oh, well, that just comes with coming in the door. But yes, probably forget that ego. Leave that one at the door because that will only bother you and get in the way. But anything else, it really doesn't matter. I think it's just getting in the door would be the hardest thing. I think that needs a round of applause, really, just coming into the door and being, taking that first step. But I think if you're a person that has tried lots of other physical exercise and everyone knows that they should be doing it, but I think if you are somewhere where you are exercising and you're not getting 100% fulfillment out of it and it is a chore, then maybe you need to look at something else, and maybe the arts is the one that might fit that bill. So try it.
Thank you very much for coming along, Dianne, and talking about ballet. And all Forest.chat listeners wish you all the best with your future endeavours.
Oh, well, thank you. And thank you for listening, everybody. And thanks so much, Paul. You've made this process very nice and simple. It's lovely having a chat with you this afternoon.
You've been listening to Forest.chat, where we talk about individual endeavour in Western Australia, what it takes, what it means, and how you do it. I'm your host, Paul Vandermeer, and in today's episode, we talked with Dianne Stewart about ballet. Remember, there are 4 ways to get involved with Forest.chat. Share the domain Forest.chat with your friends and family and people you meet. When you sign up for the emails, you'll receive advance notice of episodes. Listen to the episodes at forest.chat/episodes. If you do something interesting, book an interview at forest.chat/interview. If you'd like to support a local business, book an advert at forest.chat/advert. I'm looking forward to joining you with our next guest. Until then, enjoy making it happen.